Hello. I've been away for a week again, and it's basically because I had another workshop, and the workshops do take some energy. Even though they are getting a little bit easier to understand, I still make big mistakes sometimes with preparation, and I take too long. But I'm getting better, so that's why I've been away. So I'm going to do two videos tonight. This particular video and the next one are requests from customers to record particular process. So I'm going to record these two videos for them. This video is using the jumbo roller. So you may have seen my other video that is discussing how to use these stamping around handles and rubber stamp wheels to stamp on cloth. Well, today I'm going to actually use them on a card. And I'm using the jumbo roller, and this time I'm using it without the cartridge. So I'm actually going to use an ink pad instead of having the cartridge. But I do recommend the cartridges because they make it a lot easier, especially when your surface is larger than a greeting card. So this is going to be the easiest card you've ever seen, and all this talking is keeping this video from being literally about 3 or 4 minutes long. So as my base, I have a piece of textured cardstock, and the color that you use is totally up to you. I'm using Crumb Cake, but you'll notice that this is a two-tone process, so it's a light color with a darker shade of the same color. So I'm using Chocolate Chip with Crumb Cake. I would try the same thing with any duo in your color coach. So anytime you're talking about a light blue with a dark blue, or a light pink with a darker shade of red, or others like that. So this is great for a two-tone card. So I've just taken the standard 5.5 by 11 card and scored it in the center at 4 1/4 to get my standard 5.5 by 4 1/4 card base. Now I'm going to use a Fiskars cutting tool, and for all of you hardcore Stampin' Uppers, don't be offended, it's just smaller than my Stampin' Up cutter, and so it's more appropriate for the video. The reason I'm bringing the cutter onto the screen is because I'm going to use it to make score lines, or I'm actually going to do a fake embossing on this card front. So I'm going to place the card into the cutter so that the inside of the card is in the cutter. So this is, if I was closing it, this would be the inside of the card. And I'm going to place that so that I am actually going to be, instead of cutting, scoring at 1/2 inch from the bottom of the card. So I'm going to, and I'm using a stylus as opposed to the scoring tool, which is too thin for this process. I'm going to use a stylus with a ball, and I'm going to press fairly hard without tearing into the cardstock because this is textured cardstock. And I might even run across there twice. So now what you'll notice when I turn this over is I've got an embossed line that I've created without a Big Shot or a Cuttlebug. Now that line, I'm going to go 2 inches from it. So the easy way to do that is to put the line at the 2-inch mark on the cutter and then score at the scoring or the cutting line. And so this gives me one embossed line at 1/2 inch from the bottom of the card, and another embossed line 2 inches above that one. I may do another one. We'll see how well I roll this. But basically what I have done, I turned the card over now. As you can see, the two very discreet embossed lines on the card base. I'm going to roll my design right along that 2-inch mark. So I'm going to take some chocolate chip here, and I'm going to ink up my Stamping Around tool, my rubber stamp on my Stamping Around tool. And when you're inking up for this method, make sure that you go all the way around and maybe even go backwards a little, because you want to make sure that you've inked the entire roller, which was really important in this. And if your ink pad has, you know, like sunk in the middle and stuff, turn your ink pad around and then do the same thing again. This way you're sure that you don't have any lightly covered areas on your wheel and the whole thing is inked. You can test this by rolling onto your grid paper, and you can see how nice that's coming out. I'm using the very vintage wheel. So now I'm going to place this down on my cardstock. Okay, I'm going to place a ruler right on the embossing line that I made. That's going to act as my guide. And then I'm going to start off the paper and rolling against the ruler, I'm going to go straight across slowly. The reason I'm going slowly is because this is textured paper and I want it to have time to hit that texture. So you'll see I get this effect. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Wordplay stamp set, and I'm going to put the Imagine. I'm going to use the Imagine sentiment from the Wordplay stamp set. So this is Wordplay, and I'm going to use Imagine. And so I'm going to use the same color ink. And I'm actually stamping this upside down, which probably isn't a good idea, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. I'm just stamping that right on the top. And you see that it has a really nice effect. And so you get, this is your final card design. Really clean and simple. You can see one that I had done yesterday. I had used a different sentiment, and then just to kick it up another notch, I added the corduroy button with a fleurette. So you can either keep it very clean, and it's literally a 1-minute card, or you can add an embellishment, and now it's a 1.5-minute card. So really easy to do design. I think the embossing lines do help the design. So enjoy!